Welcome everybody to Woogie's Corner, and glad to see you back. Today, let's see. Oh, I know what I want to do. Today, I'm going to just jump right in on this, okay, folks? Does anybody remember this? Is anybody out there? Please let me know in the comments below, okay? This is live from the Grooveyard, okay? This is 1965 or thereabouts, Vancouver. The Grooveyard was one of the premium discotheques, you might call it, in the day. And here's another picture of it. And some of these bands, this was fabulous. We have Soulry Unlimited, the Shockers, Kenny Steele and the Chantels, the Nocturnals, the Stags. I mean, and this was bigger than life, folks. I mean, if you were a young musician or a young person back in the 60s, and I mean, they had the suits, they had the girls, the go-go girls, they had the lights, they had horns, wonderful songs. I mean, it was the place to be, okay? I think anyone that's over the age of 60 will attest to that. Well, I'm going to share some personal history with you. I didn't play with this Grooveyard, but I played other places in Vancouver, and I was with a group called The Nighttime. And we weren't from Vancouver, but we had a chance. I'll fast forward to 1967. We were fairly well known more in the interior of the province. And we had a chance to send a demo tape down to the CKLG Battle of the Bands for 1967 at the Seaforth Armories in Vancouver. This is a big deal. This is something like, it would be something like this, right? So we got the demo tape together and recorded it at a local radio station. Just about blew the DJ's ears out when we were... That's another story. But anyway, we sent the tape down. We got accepted. 34 bands in BC. And we're one of them. Seaforth Armories. I believe it was in July. I can't remember the dates, actually. So that was a big deal. So we rehearsed up, boy, I tell you. And we showed up down there. And we got a room at the Cove Motor Hotel, on English Bay. And I'll tell you what, folks, in summertime in Vancouver, on English Bay, back in the 60s, we thought we died and went to heaven. It was so beautiful. The days were warm, the soft breeze blowing, and then there was people singing on the sidewalk, and it was a kind of an era of love and peace was sort of moving in, and a lot of the older people with their hats and their ties were kind of walking around looking at us like, oh my goodness, what do we got here? But anyway, that's what we did, and well, I mean, you can sort of see from some of this, like, everybody was just having a good time with this. Okay, so we show up. And we get into the Seaforth Armories. This is going to be a one-week event. At the end of this event, the winner gets, I think it was $1,000 and a bunch of recording time at a local studio. It's worth it. So anyway, we were on the outside stage and playing out there, and they had a big stage inside for the headliners, like Kenny Steele and the Chantels, and some of the big groups played in there. I gotta tell you a funny story. And about this event. Okay, first of all, we were kind of an R&B band, but with a pop twist, like we used to do things like Love and Spoonful, if you remember those guys. Love and Spoonful, Wilson Pickett, Young Rascals. We had a Hammond organ and with the Leslie with the rotating horn. And we had some good players in that band. Daryl Harlick, Al Angus, Warren Burns. That was a good band. So anyway, we were out there rocking our way, and we had a pretty good little following. People liked what we were doing. So anyway, the day came when the headliner for the outside group was supposed to be there. This was a Seattle-based band Now, some of you older listeners will remember, called the Springfield Rifle. Okay. Does that ring a bell? They had a big hit back in those days, and correct me in the comments on this, maybe I got it wrong. Something about 100 or 101, something like that. I think that's what it was called. It was a big hit for them. So they were going to be appearing one day only in Vancouver at the Seaforth Armories in Vancouver at the Battle of the Bands. And boy, we were anticipating this. I mean, hey, big recording artist out of Seattle. So there we were. I think it was a Wednesday, if I remember right. And so we're all lined up out there, all us musicians and a whole bunch of people. I mean, it must have been 2,500 people out there. I mean, it was packed. And out comes Springfield Rifle. Now, we had met these guys backstage in the dressing rooms. And they were standoffish. They were kind of, basically, they were a bunch of pricks for the most part. They weren't all that nice to us local yokels. And they're going to show us how they get her done downtown. Okay. All right. So anyway, they come out onto the stage, they get all set up out there, and they did a couple songs which were throwaway songs, which most bands did, because you had to give the sound guys a chance to get their act together, and you didn't want to give them your best stuff right off the bat. But anyway, by the third song, so they had this thing, like I say, it was called 100 or 101 or something like that. And so you get this, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, and so into this thing they go. Well, they're just busy playing this thing, and I can't remember how to go back anyway. And they get into about 8 bars or so, and somebody made a mistake, and somebody hit a wrong chord, and then somebody hit another chord, and then somebody hit something else, and the drummer did something stupid, and anyway, they come right to a stop. Folks, whoa! You'd have to been there to see this big recording band, and stop, dead silence out there. You could have heard a pen drop out there. Then somebody went, boo! Yeah, well, anyway, they picked it up and they kept going, but the magic was gone. A lot of people walked away. And I almost felt sorry for them if they hadn't been such pricks to us earlier. I would have felt more sorry for them, but I guess that's show business. And the band did not last very long after that. And apparently they had some problems in the band. That's why they had some new members. And anyways, history now. Oh, yeah. Now's the time. My book, Rattlesnakes, Airplanes, and Gold. And I mentioned in my last video that I'm going to be setting up a link so that you people can buy this book. And I think you'll really enjoy it. Lots of musical stories, lots of stories about history, about rattlesnakes, airplanes, and gold. My dad was a gold miner. He was a bush pilot. I was a heavy-duty mechanic for many years. There's a lot of stories in here. Anyway, let's see. The Nighttime Band, the Seaforth Armories, 1967. It was right in this era. I'll just run this by you one more time. This was an era. Really was something else again. Seaforth Armories for the Battle of the Bands, and this was the GROOVEYARD. And oh yeah, so what kind of a musical ditty can I do with that? Well, let's just try something from that era and see how we make it. I'm not about to compete with some of these guys here. I mean, this is no way. Well, let's see. I bought a look at the city wine. Oh, thank you again, folks, for this episode. We'll see you again next week with more stories. Maybe we'll shift gears and talk about something else next week. But anyway, it's going to be good. Come on back. We'll see you then.